In Lesson 2, we're going to do a deep dive into how to develop and tell your signature story. You'll learn to tell it in a way that makes you compelling and interesting, and more important, in a way that lets people know you are committed to their welfare. Told correctly, your story will leave people standing in line, signing up to join your cause and be part of your campaign. There's a basic and fundamental truth about politics. Voters don't care about you. They care about what you are going to do for them. So why tell your story at all? Because it is through your story that voters will judge the credibility of everything you say. If you don't tell your story, voters will not know what grounds you, what you've done or accomplished, or what qualifies you to make decisions and govern on their behalf. Think of it as building a house. Your story is the foundation. Without it, nothing will stand. There is another compelling reason to tell your story. Politics is civilized warfare. If you don't tell your story on your terms, your opponent will tell your story on their terms, and they won't talk about the good things you did. They'll talk about the stupid things you've done or said. The mistake that many candidates make when telling their story is that they slap a detailed bio on their literature or recite some endless laundry list of things they've done in their speeches. Don't do that. Smart candidates display their biography and story through a seminal event that happened in their life, one that helps explain their point of view and what makes them tick. And it is through their story that they make themselves likable, talk about their accomplishments, causes that are important to them, movements they have led, people they have helped, or hardships they endured, their fundamental beliefs and convictions. Then they repeat the story endlessly in front of audiences, reporters, on their website, and in their literature. Voters like stories. Your job is to make yours compelling, interesting, and usually that is more easily done by talking about a seminal event that forever changed who you are and what you became. Everybody has a story like that. Some examples. A client of mine who was a contractor had once declared bankruptcy. The circumstances were this. He was building an expensive home. The owner fell behind on the payments. Rather than lay off his workers and walk away from a job half done, he continued doing the work until the house was in a weather-ready condition. He was eventually forced to declare bankruptcy until his successful lawsuit against the owner wound its way through the court system. When voters heard the story, they quickly concluded that he was a man of integrity, character, one who would do the right thing when confronted with a difficult decision. I once helped a single mother run for family court judge. She'd been raised on a farm. We told the story of how she worked side by side with her brothers, digging ditches in the family orchard, worked her way through law school, raised a daughter who became a star athlete, and a son who was valedictorian of his high school. Voters concluded that she was grounded with a work ethic, would treat men and women as equals in the courtroom, and that she placed special priority on the welfare of children. Watch presidential candidate Marco Rubio on the campaign trail and you'll hear his signature story of how his parents fled Cuba in the 1950s, struggled to make ends meet as new immigrants in the United States, how they worked 2 and 3 jobs to feed a family, and made it possible in a land of opportunity for Rubio to go to college, law school, and become a U.S. Senator. More important, you'll hear Rubio talk about how that experience shapes his view of what America is and can be. How do you develop your story? Make a list of the 10 people who have had the greatest impact on you. Perhaps it was your parents, or a teacher, or a coach, or college professor, or a minister, a mentor, a friend, a spouse. Now recall some of the special moments with each and an event or encounter that you still remember well. Next, put your life in chronological order from the time you were born to present day, where you lived, what you did, what you remember from your earliest days, where you went to school, each grade, your teachers, classmates, the clubs you belonged to, the parties you attended, each year of college, where you lived in college, your best friends, the jobs you held, the organizations you have been involved with as a civic and a community leader, the people you met, things that happened to you, the good, the bad, and even the ugly, the times you were happy, sad, afraid, the illnesses you encountered, the friend who died young, your marriage, your children. When you go through these exercises, special moments and memories will fill your mind. Next, look at times in your life when there were significant changes in your point of view, or when you changed your mind about what you wanted to do with your life, or when you saw or heard something that profoundly affected you, or the day you discovered why you were born and what you were put on earth to do. These exercises will free your mind to remember things in the recesses of your brain that have long been buried. And chances are, when you are done, you will have not one, but several stories about epic moments in your life that profoundly affected you. At this point, you'll need the company of a good listener, because you are not necessarily the best judge of your story, nor will you always see the value of a story the way others do. You'll need the company of a good friend or advisor who can give you candid feedback on stories you tell, ask questions that jog your memory, and a person that can help refine your story until it sparks an emotional reaction with an audience. This has been my experience through my years of consulting. Very few candidates know how to do this. Very few candidates do it well. Most don't know their signature story when we first meet. It is only by taking them through this exercise and asking them questions that we are able to find and develop their story into something compelling. You'll know you have developed your signature story when it does one of the following. Does it make you human and likable? Does it tell an audience something that you have accomplished? Does it reveal something about your determination or a deeply held moral principle? Does it demonstrate how an event forever changed you for the better? Does it reveal how you overcame a hardship or developed empathy for others who confronted a difficult challenge? When you tell your story, does it make people think or change the way they feel or the choices they make? Your assignment? Send me your signature story in narrative form based upon what you learned in this lesson. Try to keep it to less than 750 words. In the worksheet, you'll see some of the criteria your story must meet in order for your story to serve its purpose. I'll see you in the next lesson.